Sushruta for NEET is now available on the Google Play Store. Try it out for free.
We are studying about evolution. I hope you remember. Yes, can you see this? Right? Are you seeing this slide?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. I was telling how the origin of Earth has taken place. What all formed first? And at the beginning, the Earth was with the reducing atmosphere. And you have seen that the different free atoms, they joined together and they formed inorganic molecules. This happened only when the Earth started cooling. These inorganic molecules, hydrogen, water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, ammonia, etc., they gradually gave rise to simple organic molecules, which resulted in complex organic molecules. And complex organic molecules, they came together, and I was telling about that. This resulted in what is known as quasar weights. Always ask a question, what is the quasar weight? Right? The quasar weights are nothing but large colloidal aggregates of organic compounds. So, see, as it is suggested that large organic molecules formed abiotically in the primitive Earth came together spontaneously due to intermolecular attraction. There occurred some attraction between them and found large colloidal aggregate called quasar weights. Later, around these quasar weights, envelope of water molecule formed. Around each of these aggregate, what's called quasar weight, due to hydrophilic nature of some of these compounds in a quasar weight. So you must remember, if it is asked, what is quasar weight? Quasar weight is nothing but the aggregation of large organic molecules. Around this, we could see the envelope of water molecule. In due course of time, a membrane of a fatty acid protected and enclosed these molecules, increasing the chances of chemical reactions. You can doubt that this membrane of fatty acid is nothing but in due course of time, it has given rise to the plasma membrane. This is what you have the quasar weights. You can see these are the large aggregates of the organic molecules resulting in quasar weights, around which you could see the formation of water envelope, around which in due course of time the fatty acid layer got formed. Gradually, breakdown and building up reaction, breakdown and building up reactions started, for which energy required was provided by breakdown reaction. Right? Quasar weights selectively absorbed nutrients or proteins and other materials from the ocean, resulting in their active growth. That means some sort of nutrition started. They selectively absorbed proteins and other materials from the ocean, and they started growing. So these quasar weights, which are the aggregates of the organic molecules, developed water envelope outside. Outside of that, fatty envelope got formed, and now they started absorbing some nutrients from the outside ocean, resulting in active growth. The quasar weights not only started growing rapidly, but also started multiplying. That means reproduction. They started multiplying, right? Now, let us look into how the formation of first cell took place. First cell is always referred to as a protobiont. Protobiont. The quasar weights were in a state of dynamic equilibrium, constantly taking new material from the ocean and releasing degraded material. Releasing of degraded material is equivalent to excretion. So you have seen nutrition. Prior to that, you have seen multiplication means reproduction. So nutrition took place, reproduction, multiplication took place, and now you would come across the release of degraded material to take place, that is a sort of excretion. Thus, they had all the basic properties of life, such as metabolism, growth, and reproduction. So whenever you say releasing of degraded material means it is metabolism, result of metabolism. However, they lacked the complexity of molecular organization, whatever you see in the larger animals and all, catalytic proteins, which you know that is enzymes, and precise control of nucleic acids. In all these aspects, they were lagging. Whatever that you are seeing now, they showed almost all the properties of life except for showing molecular organization, presence of enzymes, and precise control of nucleic acids, that is the DNA and RNA. Later, the nucleic acids are said to have taken control of conservates. That means no nucleic acids appeared, and the process of replication became precise in due course of time. Replication of the nucleic acid. So, with the nucleic acids being established as the genetic material, conservate got transformed into primitive living system, which we have been called protobionts or ebionts. So with all this, the first cell type of organism appear, which we call the protobionts or ebionts. Right? Some of the proteins in the protobionts are said to have developed the ability to catalyze chemical reaction. That means they give rise to enzymes. So now we have seen that conservates got to develop a water layer outside. Outer to that, they repaired fatty covering. Then they showed growth. They also showed multiplication. They started releasing these materials outside. And also the nucleic acids appeared. And now the first enzyme came into picture. All these you can see resulting in the formation of first cell or advancement towards the formation of the first cell. The formation of enzymes greatly enhanced the rate of synthesis of various molecules. You know, enzymes are always known to speed up the chemical reaction. So, they enhanced the rate of synthesis of various molecules in the protobiont. Protobiont is nothing but the first cell. In course of time, the protobionts became enclosed by protein lipid membrane, allowing the accumulation of some molecules and exclusion of the other. This property improved the ability of protobiont to survive and compete with others. With the process of metabolism, growth, reproduction becoming regular, precise and regulated, the first cells or organisms were formed. So in this way, the life might have originated. The first forms of life developed among the organic molecules in oxygen-free atmosphere. This is very, very important point. Whatever that you have seen so far, whatever that you have developed, all this got formed in the oxygen-free atmosphere. So we say that it is a reducing atmosphere. Hence, they presumably obtained energy by the fermentation of organic compounds. Fermentation of organic compounds because there was no free oxygen. They were heterotrophs requiring ready-made organic compound as food. They were not autotrophs. First organ, whatever that you come across, they were heterotrophs. You know, heterotrophs are others nourishing. They obtained energy by the fermentation of organic compounds. That is most important because there was no free oxygen, atmospheric oxygen. So they were chemoheterotrophs. As I said, the first organisms were heterotrophs and they were chemoheterotrophs depending on the chemicals that is available to them. They are prokaryotic like bacteria. They are anaerobes. They must have been dependent on the organic molecules present in the broth. Broth is ocean. Present in the broth or ocean for bodybuilding and obtaining energy. This is a very important point that you have to remember. First organisms were chemoheterotrophs. Bacteria like prokaryotes they are dependent on organic molecules present in the ocean for building up, bodybuilding, and also for getting the energy, obtaining the energy. This in due course of time gave rise to chemo autotrophs. So remember, it is the chemoheterotrophs, the first to evolve, and from there, chemo autotrophs got evolved. They are able to synthesize organic molecules from inorganic raw materials with the help of chemical energy obtained by the degradation of chemical compounds present in the sea. So The autotrophs were not here the autotrophs were not dependent on the light, but they are dependent on the chemicals present in the sea for getting the energy, right? To synthesize molecules from inorganic molecules, photoautotrophs. The next step was to development of a pigment molecules called chlorophyll. This is the turning point, and we do not know how it happened here. So this is the most important turning point. With the appearance of the develop or with the development of pigment molecules called chlorophyll, the entire scenario got changed. It would absorb solar energy and convert it into chemical energy. This process is termed as photosynthesis. So now the photoautotrophs got evolved. The earliest form organisms were photoautotrophic bacteria. So to make the record straight, first it was the heterotrophs, chemoheterotrophs it was. From chemoheterotrophs, you do chemicals chemoautotrophs. From chemoautotrophs, it is the photoautotrophs. They were anaerobic, but and did not produce oxygen. The earliest found organisms are photoautotrophic organisms, bacteria. They are anaerobic because there was no free oxygen and did not produce oxygen as byproduct during photosynthesis because they did not use water. They did not use water as a reagent. So now comes into picture aerobic photoautotrophs. They evolved, aerobic phototrophs evolved about 3,300 to 3,500 million years ago. They are like present day cyanobacteria. You heard about cyanobacteria, right? And could release oxygen into the atmosphere because they use water as the reagent. Thus, the whole reducing atmosphere changed into an oxidizing atmosphere with the appearance of these cyanobacteria-like organisms which could release oxygen into the atmosphere. The reducing atmosphere of the Earth got transformed or changed into oxidizing atmosphere. So this is only possible only because of the development of a chlorophyll-like pigment, which enabled these organisms to trap this solar energy. And this made the photosynthesis possible, and gradually you could see the release of oxygen, transforming this reducing atmosphere of the Earth into oxidizing atmosphere. Autotrophs are said to have taken erosion much later in the primitive Earth due to mutation in the primitive autotrophs. This is another turning point. Some mutation, natural mutation, took place in the primitive autotrophs, resulting in autotrophs, self-nourishing. The appearance of autotrophs, particularly photoautotrophs, changed the situation. The appearance of photosynthetic organisms resulted in the release of free molecular oxygen, which was not there prior to that, into the atmosphere, gradually transforming it into an oxidizing type from the reducing type. What point you have to remember is that the primitive Earth was of a reducing atmosphere. And only after this cyanobacteria bacteria got evolved and only chlorophyll pigment started developing, when they started showing phototrophs, now reducing atmosphere got transformed into oxidizing atmosphere. So major steps, as I have already showed you, can be summarized as follows. This I have already told about this in the last class. And again, I'm showing you, say, inorganic molecules gave rise to simple organic molecules, which gave rise to complex organic molecules, and this resulted in quasarvates. Quasarvates evolved into protobions, and protobions evolved into primitive cells, right? So now the question is that, little bit, what is the views of Sidney W. Fox? His contribution also praiseworthy. Fox, what he showed, Fox dripped dilute solutions of the simple molecules onto hot sand. He just dripped some dilute solutions of simple molecule onto hot sand, rock, or clay, and thereby vaporizing water and concentrating molecules on the earthen substrate. What he has noticed, when he did this one, just by dripping some of these dilute solutions of simple molecules on very, very hot sand, he got to find some complex molecules which were called proteinoids by him. Remember, it was Sidney Fox, he used the term proteinoids by him. What have you heard about this now protobions or eubions? Like that, this person used the term proteinoids for the first cellular cell-like structure having a organism. Fox had imagined that the torrential rains on the early Earth, you may be knowing that the rains, there was continuous rains for hundreds of years. So these torrential rains of the early Earth splashed dilute solutions of the simple molecules onto the hot Earth, where the molecules would have joined to form complex molecules that were then washed into the ancient ocean where they could interact. You must also remember that the first life originated in the oceanic atmosphere, right? Fox has shown that when the proteinoids are mixed with the cool water, they self-assemble into small droplets called microsphere. So in fact, this microsphere and whatever protobions, eubionts, etc., they are all one and same. The microspheres so grew by absorbing proteinoids until they become so large and unstable that they split into daughter droplets with constituents similar to those of parents. So this is a reproduction. Another kind of droplets forms when phospholipids are placed in water. They form membranes similar to those in the living system and then split apart to form liposomes. So, coacervates, microspheres, liposomes, or what you have heard, protobions, ebionts, they all are one and the same, and they all have been involved in the formation and development of the first cell or protocells. Fox called these protein-like structures proteinoids. Fox called these protein-like structures proteinoids. Dr. Fox claims that the origin of the cell is microsphere or protocell. Microspheres are made from the addition of water or salt solution to the appropriate proteinoids. To prepare microspheres, Fox added 10 ml of boiling salt solution onto the hot proteinoids and stirred carefully. He just called it microspheres. Leave that the details in the. Now let us look into experimental evidence. Is it possible by making all these chemicals to come together? And if at all we simulate that condition existing at that time, is it possible experimentally to get these protobiotic structures or these primitive organic compounds in the laboratory? Yes, some attempt has been made in this regard. Okay, some attempt has been made in this regard, and this is what we are going to study under this particular aspect, what is called experimental evidence. Okay, now let me just take the attendance. I want to know who are all come and who are absent. Okay, I would like to know. Rakesh, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Rafa?
Present, sir.
Yeah. Blessy? Rafa is there. Blessy? Kanisa?
Present, sir.
Aisha? Aisha? Charan?
Present, sir.
Kavita?
Yes, sir.
Chinmayi?
Yes, sir.
Nadira? Nadira? Jayasri? Jayasri? Okay. I hope all of you have felt these examinations much easier. Am I right? So you should prepare in the same way for the next board examination also. Right? And please don't miss any classes here afterwards. And also I request you to log in 5 minutes before. We can't lose the time now. We are with very less time and we have to cover a lot. Right? Please make it a point to come exactly on time. Right? So I would like to continue now with the slide. Experimental evidence. Any doubt you have so far? Rafa? Kanisa? Navya? Siddesh?
No, sir.
Vismita?
No, sir.
Namrata?
No, sir.
Lohit?
Yes, sir.
Jyoti? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. Now we shall take up experimental evidence. Some scientists, especially the two great scientists, Stanley Miller and Harold Urey, they designed an experiment just to test, is it possible to get to such organic molecules if at all we simulate the condition existed then? Yes, they could do that. As the theory of chemical evolution started gaining more and more support, investigations were initiated by several scientists to establish the conditions under which the simplest organic compounds were formed in the primitive earth. They tried to get to the simple organic compounds which are found in the primitive earth to get it in a laboratory condition. Two scientists, Stanley Miller and Harold Urey, were the first to test Operin-Haldane theory. This Operin-Haldane theory, they wanted to test whether it is possible if you agree with regard to the concept that Operin-Haldane has put. It is called Operin-Haldane theory, and this was put in year 1953. And this is what happened. Stanley Miller and Harold Urey. Harold Urey is here in this. And Harold Urey was a research guide to this gentleman, Stanley Miller. And this, whatever work they have done, it is the PhD thesis of this guy, Stanley Miller. Okay. Harold Urey was his research supervisor or guide. Urey and Miller designed a glass apparatus. Please note down, this glass apparatus is called spark discharge apparatus. It is called spark discharge apparatus. What is the peculiarity of this? It consisted of a flask, a gas chamber, and a condenser connected in a series as shown in the next diagram. The flask consisted of water, which was boiled thoroughly to produce water vapor. Right? This is what you see, the spark discharge apparatus with the flask. Right? So, in this, the gas chamber consisted of two tungsten electrodes, I shall show you, placed at a distance of about 1 centimeter and connected to terminals. When the electrodes were connected, they produced a high energy spark of about 75,000 volts with 800 degree temperature, centigrade temperature, 800 degree centigrade temperature, 75,000 volts. Okay, so this is what spark discharge apparatus flask, and here you can see that two electrodes, when these electrodes are connected to the terminal, it could produce 75,000 volts of current and generate the heat of 800 degrees centigrade. Now let us see what they have done in this particular experiment. And this is generally asked for 5 marks question. Now write a neat label diagram of this spark discharge apparatus, or it may be given in NCERT word. It may be that whatever that Urey, Harold Urey and Stanley Miller, what they have done. So this, okay, this is what they may ask the question like that. Describe this Urey Miller's glass apparatus or spark discharge apparatus. So prior to experiment, Urey and Miller evacuated the entire apparatus. Whatever the gas was there, that was removed. Air was there, that was removed. They evacuated the entire apparatus. Through the inlet, they passed a mixture of ammonia, methane, and hydrogen, and they in the ratio of approximately 1:2:2. And with regard to this ratio, some people say 2:1:2, or this is 1:2:2. So there is no consistency with this particular ratio, and it is believed that it is used in the proportion of 1:2:2. Along with the water vapor produced in the flask, these gases were made to enter spark discharge chamber when the electrodes were switched on. Okay, so chemical reactions occurred in the spark discharge chamber, and products formed were cooled by circulating water in a condenser. Let me just to show you again. This is what they did. The first, they just evacuated whatever that was contained inside. They evacuated by using this vacuum pump, and the water which was there in the flask, it was later, it was continuously boiled. When the water boiled prior to that, after evacuation, they have just let in these NH3CH4H2 to come inside. They just pumped these gases there. And when this water got boiled, at that time, when water got evaporated, it pushed all these gases which got induced here, which got inserted here, and these gases are made to pass through these tungsten electrodes. So when they are connected, this produced 75,000 volts of current, and it brought the temperature of 800 degrees centigrade, just simulating the condition existed in the primitive Earth. And after this making the gases to pass through this spark discharge chamber, all of a sudden these are made to pass through the condenser, just to simulate the condition existed there. I said that as long as it was with the heat, that the chemical elements, they never used to join each other. The moment when Earth started cooling, the chemical elements started getting attracted to each other and formed inorganic molecules like that. So now to mimic that, they just made this particular gas after passing through this electrode to just pass through the condenser, simulating the cool condition. And when it was passed and made to come down, you could see that in the U-shaped part of this apparatus, at the bottom, they could see water containing the different compounds, organic compounds, right? So this clearly indicated what all compounds there, what all that components are there, that you can see. Along with the water vapor produced in the flask, these gases are made to enter the spark discharge chamber when the electrodes were switched on, right? So chemical reactions occurred in the spark discharge chamber, and the products formed were cooled by circulating water in the condenser. These products were collected from the trap and subjected to analysis, and the experiment was run continuously for about a week. And now what they could see that the analysis conducted on the products obtained in the experiment revealed that the products contained many simple organic compounds, which include amino acids like glycine, alanine, glutamic acid, aspartic acid, etc. So clearly indicating that yes, such a simulation could generate these organic compounds. This experiment clearly supported the hypothesis that in the ancient Earth, primitive gases could have reacted with one another to form simple organic molecules in the presence of high energy sources. So this is what the proof of experimental evidence for the evolution or the formation of these organic compounds and transformation of the primitive Earth to that of the present Earth with the oxidized atmosphere, right? Similar experiments conducted with more refined techniques by other scientists like Sidney Fox have clearly demonstrated that most of the amino acids that are found in the proteins and nucleotides found in nucleic acids can be synthesized in the laboratory. So Sidney Fox could get such most of these amino acids by these experiments. So simulating the conditions of primitive Earth. So this is one of the most important experiment that has proved that yes, life might have originated in that way. First cell might have originated in that way. Right? Clear? Do you have any doubt about this? Any doubt on this experiment?
No, sir.
Okay. In similar experiments, others observed formation of sugar, nitrogen bases, pigment, fats, etc. Analysis of a meteorite content also revealed similar compounds, indicating that similar processes are occurring elsewhere in space. With this limited evidence, the first part of the conjecture story, chemical evolution, was more or less accepted. So, Stanley Miller's experiment agrees chemical evolution. We have no idea about how the first self-replicating metabolic capsule of life arose. So, now it's okay that how this first cell like a protozoan-like matter got. But what gave the shape of amoeba? Why that euglena looks like that? Why that formation had that shape? That is even today we are not in a position to that know exactly how it happened. The first non-cellular forms of life could have originated 3 billion years back. This is what you have in your NCERT book. I am coming to now your NCERT book. Here afterwards, we are following NCERT book. Okay, so please open the NCERT book and see that. The first non-cellular forms of life could have originated 3 billion years back. first phototrophs is the cyanobacteria. They would have been giant molecules. RNA, protein, polysaccharide, etc. These capsules reproduce their molecules perhaps. The first cellular form of life did not possibly originate till about 2000 million years ago. Right? So for a very long time, there was no life on this earth. Though these were probably single cells. All life forms were in water environment only. That is why Haldane called life originated in the oceanic water. Haldane called this oceanic water as a hot dilute soap. You may be knowing that the water in the ocean was in the boiling condition for several hundreds of years. So he called this hot dilute soap where the life originated. This version of your biogenesis, that is, first form of life, arose slowly through evolutionary process from non-living molecules is accepted by majority. Here, non-living molecules refer to chemical molecules, not a non-living thing like a leaf, root, etc. However, once formed, how the first cellular forms of life could have evolved, first cellular form of life could have evolved into complex biodiversity of today is a fascinating story which we are going to discuss one by one now. Right? So, I think this introduction part is over now, and we are going to look into the NCERT book now, look into the details of the evolution. Yes, can you see? Evolution of life forms. Conventional religious literature tells us about the theory of a special creation. Lot of people believe that whatever you see today, they are all created by God. That is what the theory of special creation says. This theory has three connotations, lapses. One, that all living organisms, species or types that we see today were created as such. Do you agree with this? All living organisms, what you see today, were created as such. That means you, right from the beginning of this life on this earth, what you see human being today, they were like that right from the beginning? Or whatever the organisms of diversity you can observe in and around you, they are all there right from the beginning? Do you agree with regard to this or disagree? All living organisms that we see today were created as such right from the beginning of origin of life on this earth. Two, that the diversity was always the same since creation. Diversity. There's nothing like adding, loss like that. And will be the same in the future also. Is it? The diversity, different types of organisms, what you see, we always the same since creation and will be the same in the future also. And the third one, that earth is about 4,000 years old only. Do you agree all this or disagree? Hello.
Disagree.
What? Rafa?
Disagree.
Disagree. Navya? Agree.
No, sir.
No. Jayasri? Vismita?
Disagree, sir.
Jyoti?
Disagree, sir.
Rakesh? We disagree. We disagree because these are the three connotations with regard to the evolution of life form. Always ask an examination, right? Based on observations made during a sea voyage in a ship called HMS Beagle around the world, Charles Darwin concluded that existing living forms share similarities to varying degrees, not only among themselves, but also with the life forms that existed millions of years ago. Have you heard of this Charles Darwin?
Yes, sir.
What you know about him, Rafa? What you know him? What you know about him? Kanisa? Kanisa? Are you there? You are left?
Yes, sir, I'm there.
You are there. It appears you are there near your kitchen, not your system. Navya,
Yes,
what do you know about it? You may be surprised if at all you say Charles Darwin joined medical course because of the force by his parents and did not complete medicine. You know that? Siddesh, Pratiraj, Prati,
Yes, sir.
you know that?
No, sir.
Charles Darwin was a failed MBBS student. Failed MBBS student. And he was interested much in nature study rather than in human study. Okay? And he just moved in a ship called HMS Beagle. You know for how many years he has moved in this Beagle? He moved for 5 years in his ship. From 1831 to 1836. He moved all around the world. And at that time, he concluded that existing living forms share similarities to varying degrees, not only among themselves, but also with the life forms that existed millions of years ago. I'll tell about Charles Darwin later. Let me see whether the time permits. Charles Darwin, along with the Lamarck, these were the two scientists who are known for two prominent theories. The theory, one of the important theory is called Lamarckism and another theory is called Darwinism. Have you at any time heard about Lamarckism? Any one of you? Have you heard about any theories of Lamarckism? Lamarck's view of evolution is known as Lamarckism. Darwin's view on evolution is known as Darwinism. Okay. So Lamarckism, Darwinism, these are the two prominent theories of evolution. Lamarck has written a book. Lamarck set out to develop an explanation for the change in a species over time. And he was the first person to speak about evolution. And he outlined his explanation, he narrated his explanation in a book written by him called Philosophy Zoology. Philosophy Zoology. So please know that this book is written by Lamarck. What we shall know about Lamarck a little bit. Lamarck has put forward two theories. One theory is theory of use and disuse, and another one is theory of inheritance of acquired character. This, according to theory of use and disuse, the various organs became greatly improved through use or reduced to vestiges through disuse. Whatever organ you put into use, they greatly develop. Whatever parts you don't use, they get degenerated, becomes useless. Rakesh, you know? Rakesh?
No, sir.
That is why I am telling you, please use your brain. It will improve. If you don't use your brain, what will happen? It gets reduced. If the use gets reduced, one day it will become useless. So organs put into use, they grow better, become stronger and stronger. The organs that are not put into use, they become weaker. And in due course of time, they may degenerate. Right? Another theory put forward by Lamarck is theory of inheritance of acquired character. What does it mean? Whatever character you acquire, that passes to the next generation. Such acquired bodily modification in some manner could be inherited to the future generation. So what you have to remember, these are the two theories put forwarded by Lamarck. One is use and disuse, theory of use and disuse, and another one is a theory of inheritance of acquired character. Right? Acquired character. We shall see this little bit about Darwinism, theory of natural selection. Right? And later, if the time permits, I will tell about Lamarckism a little bit more also, or some additional points. Darwinism is also known as a theory of natural selection. Right? These, whatever I'm explaining now, they are not given in NCERT book. Darwin's explanation for the origin of species by natural selection is known as Darwinism. Darwinism does not exactly mean what evolution is, but explains how evolution might have occurred in nature. It is just trying to explain how the evolution might have occurred in nature. This explanation has been elaborated by Darwin in his book called Origin of Species by Natural Selection, published in the year 1859. Please remember, it's very important. Origin of Species by Natural Selection. This book was written by Darwin in the year 1859. In one of the examinations, even they have asked in which year it got published. 1859. Origin of Species by Natural Selection. Right? So, you have another book that is known as Origin of Life. Origin of Life is was written by another person. Do you know who has written the book Origin of Life? Anyone has idea? Origin of Life. Origin of a species is different. Origin of life is different. Origin of Life book was written by Oparin. Origin of Species book is written by Darwin. Oparin has written Origin of Life. Oparin's idea got published in Origin of Life. So Darwin is regarded as father of organic evolution. Father of organic evolution. Now let us look into the propositions of Darwin. Darwin's idea with regard to evolution, which is known as Darwinism, is based on the following principles. What are they? Prodigality of production or overproduction, struggle for existence, development of variation, survival of the fittest, natural selection, speciation, or origin of new species. All these principles are very important. You must know about them. These are all propositions of Darwin. So first one is prodigality of production or overproduction. What does it mean? And this is followed by struggle of existence, struggle for existence. And this is followed by development of variation, which is followed by survival of the fittest, natural selection, and finally speciation. Now, I am just giving you some thought. Okay? Now, if every condition is favorable to an animal, what it does? If all the conditions are favorable to an organism, or putting it in another way, what is the most important thing in the life of any organism? Navya? For any organism, what is the most important thing, including you? Navya,
Yes, sir.
what is that? For any organism, what is the most important thing? Rafa? Kanisa? Where is the place? Pardon? Who is this? Kanisa?
Rafa.
Rafa, tell me.
Food.
Food? Is it that you live to eat food? Or eat food to live?
Eat food to live.
Eat food to live or you live to eat food? What is the most important point? Okay, come on. you got to sufficient food to eat. What will happen then later? You have no problem. You are getting food problem got solved. Come on, what next? Hello? Jyoti,
Yes, sir.
what is the most important thing in the life? So, Namrata,
Yes, sir.
what is that? Namrata,
Yes, sir.
what is the most important thing in the life? Harshavardhan?
Yes, sir.
Rishmita? Hello? Siddesh?
Yes, sir.
What is the most important thing? Kavita?
Yes, sir.
What is the most important thing in your life?
Yes, sir.
Hello? Anyone? Prithvi?
Sir, air.
Not, man. Not that. The most important thing in the life of any organism, air, water, this thing, food and all, it is very much required to live, you will get it. The most important thing for any organism is reproduction. Every organism is hell bound to have continuity of its race. Am I right? Am I right? Navya?
Yes,
Navya?
sir.
After getting a seat in a good medical college, after becoming doctor, what you are going to do? Hello.
Yes, sir.
What are you going to do? You don't know?
No, no.
No, why
No,
you
not
are
like that.
laughing? Huh?
Like,
You get married, am I right?
yes.
Oh, what why the trias that is stammering? Yes, you are going to get married. Every individual is very particular after getting settled in a life to get married and to go for procreation. If all the conditions are favorable, there is absolutely no problem. How many young ones an organism produces? How many it may produce? Hello? Rafa? How many young ones one organism individual may produce? Rakesh? How many? Are you answering my question?
What, sir?
What, sir? You don't know question. Charan? Lohit? Vismita? Chinmayi? What is my question? If all conditions are favorable to the organism, how many young ones it is going to produce? Anyone? Open to the whole class.
Sir, it's as much as they want, right?
Pardon?
It's as much as they want.
Yeah, as much as they want. Am I right? As much as they want or as much as they can? As much as they want refers to Navya. As much as they can refers to other animals. Am I right, Navya?
Yeah, sir.
Want and can, difference is there, There is difference. So, if all the conditions are favorable, every animal is going to produce as much young ones as possible. This is what is called prodigality of production or overproduction. That means it goes on producing the kids, young ones. It goes on producing young ones. Is it that all these young ones, all these progeny survive? 100%?
No, sir.
Why? 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 There will be what? There will be competition. There will be struggle. Struggle for what purpose? Struggle to get the space to live, struggle or fighting to get the food to eat, and struggle to get a mating partner to breed. So there will be struggle. There will be struggle, and this struggle is called struggle for existence. So, in nature, whenever any particular species, whenever it goes on producing as many individuals as it possible, the progeny starts fighting with each other for these three basic requirements. What are that? For the space to live, for the food to eat, and for the mating partner to reproduce. Who will win this struggle? Who are going to win in this struggle? The one which is better adapted, the one which is showing a favorable variation. In this struggle, during this struggle, no doubt they started adopting one or the other new methods. The one which develops a favorable variation, they win in this struggle. And this animal which wins in this struggle with the favorable variation is one. It is categorized as the fittest one, and it is known as the survival of the fittest. Who is going to decide about this? No. You know, there is struggle occurred between species. And whenever you say about the struggle, you must remember that there are three types of struggle. Can anyone tell me? There are three types of competition, or there are three types of struggle, three types of competition. One type of competition is the competition between members of the same species. Another type of competition is the competition between members of different species. So, if the competition is within the member of the same species, it is called intra-specific competition. If the competition is between two different species, it is called interspecific competition. If the competition with the nature, it is called extra-specific competition. So, there will be struggle. There will be struggle of three types. Struggle within members of the same species, struggle within members of different species, interspecific competition, and struggle between the organism and the nature, with the environment, extra-specific competition. And in this competition, the one which shows a favorable variation, they survive. The one which want to show the favorable variation, they perish. So now, recently, for the last 2 years, we are showing a struggle with the nature. Human beings are involved in a competition with the nature with the coronavirus. Those individuals who could not show favorable variation, some of the individuals, some human beings, they died. If at all we are surviving, please remember, without your knowledge, your body somehow has fought this corona variant and enabled you to survive. That means those who we have survived now in this corona pandemic era, we are what is called survival of the fittest. Our survival is survival of the fittest. And this is what the nature decided. That means it's the natural selection. If at all like this situation continues for several years, if at all the corona pandemic starts repeatedly troubling us, in due course of time, human beings may evolve into a new species where coronavirus cannot do anything. That is what origin of new species. So these are the 5 principles of Darwinism: prodigality of production or overproduction, struggle for existence, development of variation, and survival of the fittest, natural selection, and speciation of origin of new species. Now let us see these a little bit more one by one. Any population has a built-in variation in characteristics. Always you do observe whether it's a human population or dog population or cat population has a built-in variation in characteristics. You know, we are all different. So slight variation is there in characteristics. Those characteristics which enable some to survive better in a natural condition like a climate, food, the physical factor, etc., would outbreed others. Those survive better in natural condition, outbreed, that means they breed more others that are less endowed to survive under such a natural condition. Some people, they died of corona, but some other people, they got a resistance to corona, and whomever who survived, they reproduce more, they outbreed others. Another one used is the fitness of the individual population. The fitness, according to Darwin, refers to ultimately and only to reproductive fitness. Remember, this is very important in terms of Darwinism. Whenever I say that, whenever you say that, hey, I am very much fit, I am very strong. How fit you are with a 6-pack, 8-pack, whatever it may be, that's not important for me. If at all you are telling that you are fit to live, you must have the ability to reproduce. Then only you are fit. So fitness in the evolution term, it is always a reproductive fitness. If at all bodily you are 6 feet or 7 feet with 150 kg of weight and all, I don't consider that you are fit unless you reproduce effectively. Hence, those who are better fit in an environment live more progeny than others. Those who are better fit in an environment live more progeny than others. These, therefore, will survive more and hence are selected by nature. So now, those who have been survived in spite of this corona pandemic, we say that we are selected by the nature. We are fittest and we are selected by nature. Alfred Wallace, a naturalist who worked in the Malay archipelago, had also come to a similar conclusion around the same time. I must tell about Alfred Wallace a little bit. Okay. Now, you know, I have just mentioned, Darwin was a failed medical student. Darwin got an opportunity to move around the world in a very world-famous ship, HMS Beagle. Do you know how this Darwin got selected to that in that team? Come on, anyone? How Darwin got selected in that team? Was it that he was so intelligent and by merit he got into that? Answer is no. In that particular ship, which was about to sail, which was about to leave, yet a few days before, one member of the crew who was supposed to go in that voyage fell ill. Out of 75 members, 74 members were there, one seat became vacant. Now they have two options. Are you hearing me? Hello, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now they had two options. One, only 74 members to go. Another, find out someone substitute to this person who fell ill. Someone suggested that there is a boy always running behind the beetle. Darwin was an ardent beetle collector. Have you heard about beetle? Have you seen the beetle? Beetle. Beetle. He was a beetle collector. He used to always go in search of beetle, different beetles, carpet beetle, red small one, or velvet beetle, like that. So he used to collect a number of beetles at that time during his childhood. Someone suggested he is very much fond of this nature and all. He is the best suited to be taken here. So Darwin got an opportunity by chance. It was not intentional selection. No, he was not selected in the first list. So, who does not allow to go in the sea, that too for 5 years, in the ship and all? Hello? Any one of you have gone in the sea, in the ship for some time, at least for short duration? Is there anyone? Is there anyone? Okay. It seems you did not get the opportunity so far. Make it a point in the lifetime to just to go on a short trip in the sea, on a ship. Okay. When we get into the ship, we feel very happy. Oh, what a nice sea. Water everywhere. You see the water in and around. Wherever you see, it is the sea. Wherever you see, it is the sea. You know what happens? Within a day or two, if at all you are made to stay in the ship for a very long time, you develop a problem. What is called? Any idea? seasickness. We develop seasickness. What is this seasickness? Because it is nice to see the sheep, very beautiful, all inside that rooms, everything, all type of play, every arrangement will be there. There, when the ship comes to the middle of the sea, lot of wave action will be there, tides will be there, and all this, the ship will be oscillating like this. Understood? Are you hearing me, Rafa? Diti? Amrita?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So she will be always oscillating. Sorry, ship will be always oscillating. When it is oscillating, you can't walk like this. You will fall down. You have to keep your two legs far away. You have to walk like this. Understood? Understood? Others will fall down. You can't walk in a normal way. You can't walk like this. You have to walk. You have to walk by keeping the two legs like this. You have to walk. Navya? Navya?
Yes, sir.
Are you seeing? Okay? You have to keep the two legs at a distance and you have to walk. And because of this oscillation, you develop vomiting sensation, nausea. You develop headache. You feel some sort of vomiting sensation, you lose appetite. You feel like nothing you want. Okay? 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. If at all one has to go for 5 years. And he has completed his journey. After coming back, Darwin dumped everything. He did not open his boxes where he got all precious collection. He kept quiet. One day, he got a post cover. When he opened the cover, he could see a gentleman who has done a lot of work on this evolution, on these animals and all, by visiting an island. He has meticulously observed almost what the same thing what Darwin observed for 5 years. And this gentleman has written an article and he wanted Darwin's expertise comment on his write-up. He was none other than Alfred Wallace. Alfred Wallace did almost the same type of work what Darwin has done for 5 years, almost came to the same conclusion what Darwin has observed, and Alfred Wallace wanted to publish his findings with the help of expert comments of Darwin. What this Darwin did? Immediately Darwin woke up and started doing his work one by one and started publishing his findings one by one immediately. But later, some of these they published together, and that is what is known as Darwin-Wallace theory of natural selection. They put the theories together and they published it in one article. So, this is what about Alfred Wallace, another great scientist who worked just like that of Darwin by going to an island, and this island is called Malay Archipelago. Right? Now, let us move. However, these ancestors were present at different periods in the history of Earth. What I am telling now? So we are looking into this, the fitness and all. We said what Darwin said. Darwin gave the importance to reproductive fitness and not simple physical fitness. Alfred Wallace also observed the same thing. Another naturalist who worked in Malay Archipelago had also come to a similar conclusion around the same time. However, these ancestors, whatever animals etc. occurred, were present at different periods in the history of Earth. Now we are looking into competition and all, among animals and all. And these competition occurred amongst the animals which occurred at different periods in the history of Earth. And this history of Earth divided into what is called a smaller units called epochs, slightly larger one called periods. Smaller one called periods, Still smaller one called eras. Now let us see these eras, periods, and epochs. So these are all the units of the history of life. Okay. So look here. This is what you have the eon, or here the larger unit is called always era. The era is divided into smaller units called period. These periods are further divided into smaller units. Smaller units called here, it is the epochs. So these are smallest. Epochs together form periods. Periods together form eras. Eras are the larger time unit than the periods, and periods are larger time units than the epochs. Now, this is what you should know. Our history, life, Earth history, it shows the existence of three eras, larger time units. And these three eras are Paleozoic era, Mesozoic era, Cenozoic era. Paleozoic era is the oldest era. Oldest era. Paleozoic era is followed by Mesozoic era. Mesozoic era is followed by Cenozoic era. Cenozoic era is the latest and is the oldest. And this Paleozoic era, it got divided into smaller units called Cambrian period, Ordovician, Silurian, Devonian, Carboniferous, and Permian. Mesozoic era is divided into Triassic, Jurassic, Cretaceous. Cenozoic era is divided into Tertiary and Quaternary. You must remember, the Paleozoic era is the era of invertebrates. Mesozoic era is the era of reptiles. And Cenozoic era is the era of mammals. You have to remember, Paleozoic era is the oldest era. At that time, only invertebrates were there. It was the era of reptiles. Mesozoic era is the era of, Paleozoic era is the era of invertebrates. Invertebrates. Mesozoic era is the era of reptiles. Era of reptiles. And in this Paleozoic era, you come across Cambrian, Ordovician, Silurian, and Devonian. You must know that Devonian is the period of fishes. Period of fishes. And Permian is the period of amphibians. Period of amphibians. Amphibians. And Mesozoic era is the era of reptiles. And you might have heard about Jurassic Park. Have anyone of you heard about Jurassic Park? Jurassic Park? It deals with what? Jurassic Park? Jurassic Park deals with what? Yes? Deals with dinosaurs. Dinosaurs. Okay. Have you heard about the dinosaurs? Dinosaurs
Yes,
are gigantic reptiles. Okay, we shall see them. So, now, Mesozoic era is followed by Cenozoic era. Cenozoic era is the era of mammals. Just remember that for the timing. And you must know, I hope you might have taken a screenshot. This is very important. You must know the different eras, which periods come under these different periods, and periods, under periods, you have to come across some epochs. Look here. This is what Paleozoic era, and these are the periods: Cambrian, Ordovician, Silurian, Devonian, Mississippian, Pennsylvanian, Permian, and these are the epochs. Okay. Again, if you look for the Mesozoic era had Triassic, Jurassic, Cretaceous period, and these are early, middle, late epochs, smaller units. And this is Cenozoic era. Under that Cenozoic era is the era for mammals. In this, again, you come across two periods: Tertiary period and Quaternary period. And now we are here. And this Tertiary period has epochs like, important, please take down the screenshot. Epochs like Paleocene, Eocene, Oligocene, Miocene, Pliocene, Pleistocene, Holocene. Holocene is in Quaternary. Pleistocene and Holocene is Quaternary. So these are all epochs of the Tertiary period, from Paleocene to the Pliocene. Okay. Now we shall move to what are the evidences for evolution. We always say The fishes gave birth to amphibians. Amphibians gave birth to reptiles. Reptiles gave birth to birds on one end and mammals on the other end. Now we must see what are the evidences for evolution. What proof is there the evolution has taken place? Evidence that evolution of life forms has indeed taken place on Earth has come from many quarters. We have evidences from different areas. Fossils are the remains of hard parts of life forms found in the rocks. I hope you know before we human beings or before we mammals have come into existence, the whole life, whole world, whole earth was dominated by dinosaurs like reptiles. For a very long time, dinosaurs ruled this earth. So, if at all you ask me, sir, what is the proof for that? Dinosaurs are there. I will show my finger towards a fossil. So, you do have what is the fossil? Always ask a question, what are the fossils? Fossils are the remains of the hard parts of life forms found in the rocks. They are the dead remains of plants and animals, which lived in the past. Rocks form sediments, and a cross-section of the earth crust indicates the arrangement of sediments one over the other during the long history of Earth. You do come across the sediment formation. That means, if at all, now let us say that you are here on the surface of Earth, if at all you start digging this earth and going deeper and deeper, you do come across the sediments of the rock formed at different periods during the history of their life. So you come across the oldest fossil of oldest animal which lived at a very long time back here, and the latest one here near to the surface. Rocks form sediments, that is the areas which in a cross section indicate the arrangement of the life forms existed there. So different aged rock sediments contain fossils of different life forms. Different aged rock sediments. That means if you have, now let us say that this is the great different depth, and you are coming across the sediment formation during different periods of life. And what you see, you do come across some dead remains in this place, some dead remains of animals in this place, here. So, different aged, these rock sediments are formed at different ages. Different aged rock sediments contain fossils of different life forms who probably died during the formation of that particular sediment. Now, when this rock formation took place, due to sedimentation, whatever the animals lived at that time, they undergo fossil and they are found here, right? So, some of them appear similar to modern organisms, if at all you can, let us see that. They represented extinct organism. For example, dinosaur. I said that the dinosaurs were creatures which existed prior to the domination of these mammals. Dinosaurs dominated the earth about 180 million years ago. 180 million years ago, dinosaurs dominated the earth. Dinosaurs lived between 230 to 65 million years. 230 to 65 million years. That means 35, another 130. Nearly 165 million years they lived. And that period, that era is known as Mesozoic era. So even though you come across Cenozoic era soil here, Cenozoic, if you go deep, you come across in one time Mesozoic sediment. That means it formed during the Mesozoic era. Remember, dinosaurs lived on this earth successfully for nearly 165 million years. And one fine day, they became extinct. Even we have not lived successfully for the last, how much knowledge we have? We don't have much knowledge beyond 75,000 years. Homo sapiens came very recently. And these animals which lived for 165 million years time, one fine day, they all became extinct. You don't have even a single surviving member now. So, nature only knows when human beings are going to become extinct. We can't say. Look here. This is what you have a family tree. of dinosaurs and their living modern day counterpart like that of the crocodile, okay, and birds. Now, I would like to give you a little bit of information on these different dinosaurs. And I'm sure you are familiar with some of these dinosaurs because they appear very much in the cartoons. Let us see these birds. Let us see a little bit more about this. And I'm just taking you to dinosaur world. If at all is possible, after writing NEET examination and all, please make it a point to watch a film, Jurassic Park, to get an idea how might have been the condition at that time. Okay? Now, Brachiosaurus, you need not take down, but just know some of these points. You need not take down all the points. Brachiosaurus was one of the tallest and the largest dinosaur yet found. Tallest and the largest dinosaur. Brachiosaurus, a giraffe-like stance, great height, up to 40-50 feet tall. Okay. Great height, up to 40 to 50 feet tall. Brachiosaurus about 85 feet long. Long means from the tip of the head to the tip of the tail. Tall means when it stands on the legs, how much height it goes. Brachiosaurus is about 85 feet long and weighed about 33 to 88 tons. You know 1 ton is equal to 1000 kg. 88 tons, 80,000 kg. Their weight. Brachiosaurus was herbivore, a plant eater. Okay? Right? Look here, this is what the Brachiosaurus have. And in front of that, yourself. Okay? One of the tallest one, about 50 feet tall, Brachiosaurus, 80 feet long from here to tip of the tail, 80 feet long. Height from here to here, 50 feet tall. When compared to you, 10 times taller than you. You may have to see, right? It was a herbivore. Stegosaurus, meaning a covered lizard, roof lizard, a plant eater. Stegosaurus, with very small head, tiny brain, toothless beak. Okay, and they had triangular bony plates on the back. Let us see that. Look here. This is what the Stegosaurus covers on the back. Right? 26 to 30 feet long. Pteranodon, winged toothless. Pteranodons are a flying reptile. They are winged, toothless. That are about 6 feet long and at 25 to 33 foot. And wing spread, 25 to 33 foot wing spread. Weighed about 35 pounds. And the standing height was about 6 feet. And the wingspan is longer than any known bird. This is about a pteranodon. And it was a carnivore. Series of pteranodon. And you have now Tyrannosaurus rex. One more. Pteranodon lizard. This Tyrannosaurus was a huge meat-eating dinosaur. And that lived during the late Cretaceous period, about 85 million to 65 million years ago. Right? So, in this way, you would see, come across, many of these dinosaurs to live on this earth before human beings or before these mammals could make a firm establishment. Tyrannosaurus rex was a fierce predator that walked on two powerful legs. And you have here another one, Triceratops. You see 3 processes. 1, 2, 3. Triceratops was a rhinosaur-like dinosaur. And it walked on 4 sturdy legs and had 3 horns on its face long. And it was a plant eater. Most of the dinosaurs were plant eaters. Perhaps it was the reason why they became extinct. When some meteorite-like structure hit the ground, the temperature got changed, and it said that they did became extinct because of the change in environment condition. And being the phycothermic animals, they could not withstand this variation in the environment, and that resulted in a complete extinction of these creatures. So, A study of fossil shows the paleontological evidence. All these we are going to see in our next class. From here point, we are going to see about the paleontological evidence is over. Now, in tomorrow's class, we shall study evidence from comparative anatomy morphology.